Good morning, distinguished guests and young leaders. Welcome to WWF Pavilion at COP29. I'm very delighted to see so many bright minds gathered here at 9 a.m. in the morning. So your early presence speaks volumes about your commitment to our planet's future. And to be mentioned that this session is a silent session. So if you want to hear the videos or hear the microphones, you need to put on the headphones. Yes. And thank you very much. So right now, we stand at a very critical juncture where youth-driven solutions are not just beneficial, they are essential. So this session brings together young leaders, each representing a unique perspective on how we can bridge the gap between technological innovation and environmental conservation. As the session starts, we would like to welcome the aspirations of our main organizers for this dedicated event. So firstly, let me invite Qiuling Liu from the International Union for Conservation of Nature. Welcome.
Hi, everyone, friends and colleagues, my young fellow young professionals. My name is Qiuling Liu. I'm the Program Officer for Climate Change from IUCN. I hereby welcome you to join us on this session to discuss about youth empowerment, nature conservation, and innovation solutions. So as many of you are aware, as the largest conservation organization with a history of 76 years history, so IUCN has long championing for the voice of youth. And I'm very delighted to share that in April this year, IUCN has officially launched the first ever Youth Advisory Committee. So it's a cohort of 17 young professionals from 11 countries, 5 continents, who brings together the voices from our IUCN's expertise commissions, our members in these people's organizations, as well as the secretariat. So IUCN is committed to working closely with all young generations. As I quote here, our Director General, Dr. Gretel Aguilar. So the active engagement of young people is essential to achieving sustainable development and to reaching inclusive and just societies. So here, I want to take this opportunity to assure you that IUCN is committed to bringing youth into conservation in an effective, respectful, and optimistic approach. So I wish you a successful session with very constructive discussion and meaningful outposts, not just for this session, but for the whole COP29. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Qiuling. Now let's welcome the Grace Gao from the Global SDGs and Leadership Development Center. Welcome.
Hello, everyone. Very early good morning. Thank you for making your time out to attend the event today. I'm so honored to have all of you be here. All our partners from different sector. We have our international organization partners from ITU and from UNITA, and also we have our academician representative from Yale University and Harvard. And today we also have our NGO partner, Shanghai Climate Week, and most importantly, we also have our youth delegation, not only from Harvard, also have we have 3 young kids from China will present their work on the green AI. We are here we are gathering here to create a multi-stakeholder platform to empower the youth, help them to leverage the AI tools to emerge into the sustainable practice. In September, we also led a delegation to ITU with the educator from China. So our center just launched last month in Singapore, which we launched with UNITA. And So Global Youth Leadership Council, as the partner of UNITA, will always serve the youth and NGOs and international organizations, try our best to empower the youth to working on the SDGs. Well, I will give the floor to our keynote speaker, Mr. Thomas from ITU. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. And good morning, everyone. And it's really a pleasure for me to represent here at ITU at this event organized by Global Youth Development Center. This was indeed a great session earlier this year in Geneva, and thank you for bringing academia and youth there. And of course, it's a pleasure to be here. It's also, I think keynote is a big word for what I'm going to say, but I think I'm just trying to share a few insights this morning that could be maybe useful for further discussions and thinking how to leverage the youth voices for leveraging digital to fight the climate crisis. And that's exactly what we are trying to do here as ITU with a lot of partners here at COP29. So first of all, it's very great to see the youth voices here around this COP, very, very visible. We had our own youth event yesterday morning, also at 9 a.m. It was also good, energy there. So it's, sometimes, maybe, I know it's not always easy for everyone to get up, especially with all the shuttles here, but the energy in these events show it's really worth it. Now, I think why we're here as ITU. So we're here not only as ITU, but we're here together with digital industry. Since last year, we started something called Green Digital Action Initiative. So Green Digital Action is basically an initiative tries to bring all the right stakeholders around the table to make sure that the digital technologies are really boosted to the maximum in their contribution to the fighting the climate crisis, but also, which was sometimes forgotten before, that the environmental credentials of these technologies themselves are taken very seriously, and that the digital is also sustainable. And it's becoming more and more difficult, I'll say in a minute, to really deliver on that, regretfully. Now, on the one hand, of course, digital technologies have a lot of potential across different areas of environmental sustainability. Of course, on the basic level, like we say, digital technologies, we did a report actually now just over a year ago, what we call a SDG Acceleration Report, which showed that all the 17 SDG goals can benefit from the leverage of the digital technologies. And then in different areas, talking about environment, for example, by some statistics, AI can save 5 to 10% global energy emissions, so which really helping other industries. Satellites together with AI can actually do the very good job on climate and earth monitoring, seeing the impacts on the climate. Early warning systems together with the mobile networks and satellite networks powered by AI systems as well, a very powerful tool to make sure as an adaptation tool to make sure that we save lives and property in the face of natural disasters that actually regretfully is increasing in frequency. However, these technologies have their own very strong environmental footprint and handprint, I'm told, like I'm still figuring out what those two words mean in environmental science, so feel free to explain me, but handprint and footprint, as the technologies. First of all, and that's very shown now in the recent years, what's happening in the recent years with the digital technology companies, net zero roadmaps. Actually, a few years ago, all the big tech companies had net zero roadmaps. Some of them even announced they're already net zero, and we are very proud so. Some people and some companies had already announced that they're aiming to be carbon negative, by 2030. Regrettably, now it's all out of the window. Because now, with the AI growth, which means energy consumption growth and means water consumption growth, that becomes very difficult. If you look by some stats over the last 5 years, the energy consumption of AI companies increased, actually doubled. Actually, there is some statistics say that actually the computational capacity, computational power that's needed to sustain AI growth doubles every 100 days or so. Energy consumption every year basically increases by 30%. Of course, the good thing is a lot of those companies buy renewables. Actually, around 60% of renewable purchases are done by digital companies, but it's not enough renewables to buy anymore. So even with that, the GHG emissions are increased over the last 5 years by around 50%. If you look at some companies now exploring solutions like having their own nuclear power plants, just to make sure that that growth is somehow offset. At the same time, water consumption doubled in the last 5 years as well. By some estimates, 5 to 10 prompts on ChatGPT, 1/2 liter of water. So I think that's a kind of two to three prompts of ChatGPT down there on that chair, in terms of the water thing, So that's a lot, and especially when you count it all. So what do we do about that? How we kind of that race, how we not allow that race to overpower us, how we push down on the negative, how we push up on the positives, because like we, as a lot of us say, regretfully, we cannot now leave the AI behind. This is here with us. Even if we individually said we don't use that, I don't think we'll get the consensus to stop it. Some people tried 2 years ago to get a moratorium, just before they launched their own models and their own apps to actually power even more on AI. So no more. This is not sustainable. Now, youth piece here. Now, youth is a powerful. Youth are the powerful campaigners, powerful voices, powerful advocates for the change in the future. But youth are, I think that's what youth also always like, that people also take their own responsibility, the biggest users of digital, which is great, amazing, no? Because that kind of means, the youth is more engaged and all that. It actually, like, if you look worldwide, youth, like penetration of people, penetration of digital use of the people between 15 and 24 years, around 79%, when average worldwide is 66, no? Even in the least developed countries, 45% of young people are using internet, when on an average population, less than 30%. Yes, it's good, because youth are online, but that means more consumption, that means more footprint, more handprint, that means more responsibility. So when we advocate for the better world, we need to also remember always our own footprint. So it's not just to say, look, all you guys need to save our future, it's how we will save our own future together. So I think these discussions, like today's discussion, I think is a great discussion to have. I think the stop here is a great place to look at the different solutions. We, for example, today, let me do a bit of a marketing. Later this afternoon, have a AI session. We'll be exploring and actually showcasing specific AI solutions, how to help climate, with the specific winners of our machine learning and AI challenges. So it's not only about talking, it's actually about really doing, so we'll indeed push that. But we need together to take that responsibility. We need to really move from advocacy to understanding what we do it together and how we take on responsibility. So with that, thank you again, Global Youth Leadership Development Center, for inviting us to be with you here, and looking forward to listen to others as well. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Mr. Thomas. So next, we're very honored to have Mr. Philip Albert, the Deputy Director of the Division for Multilateral Diplomacy at UNITAR. Welcome.
All right, distinguished colleagues, esteemed young leaders, and honored guests. Can you hear me well? Yes? A bit louder. Because it's yeah. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you all. My name is Philippe Aubert, and I work as Deputy Director in the Division for Multilateral Diplomacy of the United Nations Institute for Training and Research, which we call UNITAR, and it's located in Geneva as well, Switzerland. And I'm really delighted to be here today at COP29 in Baku, among many inspiring people that I see in the room. People who have a lot of experience, people who are quite young and ambitious, I would imagine. So it's really great to be surrounded by all of you. And really the event's theme for today, transforming the world with youth-driven solutions, couldn't be more timely. As you all know, today we are facing a defining challenge, which is to address the urgent environmental crisis that we all face today. And this gathering really demonstrates the world is increasingly recognizing the essential role as young leaders in shaping sustainable solutions. Recently at the United Nations, under the leadership of the Secretary General, the UN appointed an Assistant Secretary General for Youth Affairs. And really this is emphasizing the UN's commitment to integrating the young voices into global decision making. And it sounds like a small thing, but it is actually something quite big and significant at the UN level. And initiatives like this, or maybe the Pact of the Future that you all heard about, reaffirm further the importance of youth participation, aiming to give young people a better say and a significant role in advancing climate action. So these commitments, what do? They remind us that youth are not just stakeholders like anyone else. Youth are here because they are the future, because they are vital partners, and because without them we cannot achieve the 17 Sustainable Development Goals and uphold the mandate and the values of the United Nations. At UNITAR, which is the United Nations Institute for Training and Research, we are really committed to empowering young people by providing them with the skills, the knowledge, the platforms and the resources so that they can really make a difference. And we do have a lot of different capacity building activities. We do have about 40 joint master degrees with academia and universities. We have executive diplomas, we have young leaders programs, immersion programs. We have many different types of fellowships as well, especially focusing for SEED and LDC young leaders. And really these programs are there to support the youth across the globe, in Geneva but beyond of course, and really building their capacities so that they can become future leaders. And as you know, multilateral diplomacy at the moment is the bedrock of global cooperation, but it's not the way it used to be anymore. It's not only about state and government officials. Other actors, and especially youth, are little by little integrated within multilateral diplomacy. So we have to take that into consideration and use it as an opportunity as well. And maybe one of the most exciting areas of our work is to support youth in harnessing digital technology and AI, which is something you were discussing before, and actually ITU and UNITAR are working together on that as well. And really the idea behind it is to advance green innovation. So artificial intelligence, for example, offer unprecedented opportunities to monitor the ecosystem, to manage the resources, and sometimes even to predict and prevent environmental risks before they actually happen. And at UNITAR, what we do is that we believe that empowering the young people to use these tools will be pivotal in designing solutions that are effective, equitable, and inclusive. And without making too much publicity as well, I'd like to invite you to have a look at our website where we do have a lot of different activities that are on that topic, or maybe we can talk about it later on as well. So youth are not just the leaders of tomorrow, they are also the leaders of today. And your perspective, your ideas, and your innovative approaches are really essential in shaping environmental policies that are responsive and resilient. And we at UNITAR, we really see our role as an enabler. We see our role as helping you, amplifying your voices, and ensuring that your contributions to environmental solutions are heard and taken into consideration for the future. So today's gathering provides an excellent opportunity for knowledge sharing, for capacity building, for networking, for partnership building. And really my message to you today is really to take full advantage of such connections and such events as well. Collaborate, you can share your ideas, you can exchange, and you can try to make a change. The path for a sustainable future is built by collective actions, and the partnerships that you forge here in Baku, and also generally speaking throughout your whole career, will be instrumental in driving the impactful solutions that we are trying to get. So in closing, I am generally speaking inspired by the energy, by the determination, by the willingness, by the vision of the young people, generally speaking, but also in the room. And UNITAR really is here to be with you. We stand with you. We are ready to support your journey and to work alongside you as partners in creating the world in which we want to live in. So thank you very much, and I look forward to the discussions afterwards.
Thank you very much, Philip. So we will then hear from universities where our young leaders will get educated. So now let's welcome Mr. Yuvan Ben David, Chief Strategy Officer of the International Leadership Center at Yale University. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks so much. It's really great to be here today, and especially at this pavilion at a COP. You know, I've recently noticed that when I say I'm headed to COP, more and more people look at me funny and they ask, which COP exactly? And I think that's a testament really to the rising profile of the nature agenda, but maybe also just a testament to the fact that I'm making new friends. And I say that only half in jest, because I do think that making new friends is really a critical part to the solutions. We're going to have to break out of our silos. I recently heard this term that I really liked, carbon tunnel, sort of tunnel vision where we think about carbon dioxide to the exclusion of other greenhouse gases, and also think about greenhouse gases to the exclusion more broadly of the environment, jobs, justice, equality. So sometimes we really need to reframe these issues to see the bigger picture. And the triple planetary crisis, and I had to actually cross out climate change because that was my instinct, climate change. But the triple planetary crisis is such a complex issue, and it's really bundled up with so many dilemmas and trade-offs that it can feel like too daunting a challenge. And the good we see in one place, like rapidly deploying solar or EVs, is often contingent on harm we see elsewhere, right? The famous cobalt mines in the Congo with the exploitative labor conditions, just to give one example. So all this complexity can really feel paralyzing at times. Aha, you might say. Artificial intelligence will help us optimize our way out of this challenge. But that just brings in another set of potential harms, right? So we need to be clear-headed about AI and the fact that it's just a tool. And one, we need to think about harnessing not only for efficiency, but also for purpose. AI is not going to be having these difficult conversations for us about the difficult trade-offs, about our values. It can facilitate those conversations, it can make them easier, it can make them more inclusive, but it's not going to be having them for us. So I come from the International Leadership Center at Yale. We're sort of a strange beast within the university. We work with practitioners. We're an action tank and leadership incubator. And we're convening rising and established leaders from around the world to have these conversations. So for example, we recently launched a program for climate leaders, rising climate leaders from the Global South. We bring 16 climate leaders to New Haven. We take them to Paris. We convene exchanges with global experts. We do things online for a few months, call those remote learning journeys. But really, our fellows learn mostly from each other, all right, and are inspired and pushed in new directions. And the collaborations that come out of this are really a testament to this. So I'll just talk about one example that I'm really excited about and that relates to the themes of this pavilion. A few of our fellows were talking one day over dinner, and between them they batted about a few statistics. And one, and maybe these were new to me, but maybe to some folks here they're not so new. The agriculture, forestry, and land use is the second largest contributor to climate change, representing about 20% of global emissions. Two, that we've witnessed nearly a 70% decline in wildlife populations since 1970. And then three, on the bright side, that nature-based solutions can provide nearly 40% of the mitigation needed until 2030 to reach the targets of the Paris Agreement. So then many of them knew bits of this. Some didn't know any. And those focused on the problems felt really estranged from the solutions, and those focused on the solutions felt really estranged from the problems. And many of them felt that as clean energy and climate experts, this really wasn't their conversation to be having. And then they realized that it was, and they thought, okay, well, what can we do about this? So they did what young people today do, and they decided to make a podcast. And they realized that a podcast was also a really fun way as people hailing from Brazil, Mexico, Indonesia, India to get together a few times a month and to do something creative together. So they created this podcast. It's called Nature-Based Discussions. It's recently launched. I think they've got about 10 episodes now. It's really, really good. And I encourage you all to download it. It's really superb. So in the past few years, we've gotten really accustomed to talking about tech and sort of bemoaning the echo chambers that tech creates. But I'm excited for this conversation today, which is a chance to really think about how tech can also facilitate the hard conversations, can break down the silos, can hold the space for the difficult conversations. And I think, as the speakers before me said, youth as people who are really digitally native are the ones who can show us how to do this. So excited for this conversation, and I'll hand it over to you. Thanks.
Thank you, Raj. Thank you very much, Yvonne. So finally, we will welcome Abbot Shi Yongxing from Shaolin Temple of China. But unfortunately, his flight was delayed, so he will only arrive later today. But still, he has prepared a video speech for us. Let's watch together. And please remember to put on the
各位
headset.
宾朋、各位朋友，感谢我们亚洲中心的深情邀请。今天我非常荣幸地 能够在29届联合国气候大会上与大家分享我的观点。在应对气候变化紧迫任务中，青年人的作用从未如此关键。我曾在2009年联合国气候大会时呼吁我们珍惜地球这个人类唯一生存的家园。如今，全球气温飞升，极端的气候变化让我们深刻体会到气候变化带来的严峻威胁。这不仅是对环境的问题，更关乎着我们每个人的生存与未来。我们在座的每一位能做什么？特别是年轻人，未来能做什么？我来自中国少林寺，作为宗教界的一位代表，从佛教的视角出发，禅宗认为，促进人类与自然和谐关系，能够提供一个古老而创新的生态智慧。在佛教视角中，万物皆有情，众生平等，幸福众生本质一体。因此，人类社会与自然万物相互依存、和谐共生的关系，正是基于对生命平等、相互依赖的理解。禅宗智慧以及少林寺的生活方式，鼓励我们要善待万物，并倡导环境，珍惜和守护这个环境。保护地球需要我们每个人共同努力，从个人开始，尤其是年轻群体积极行动起来。佛陀在30多岁时悟道，禅宗六祖慧能大师25岁南下弘法，佛教的许多领袖在年轻时就投身人类福祉和世界更美好的未来事业上，在历史上留下来博爱和智慧的印记。在座的每一位年轻人，不仅是未来的领导者，更是当下行动的推动力。我们共同来创造未知的世界，让我们共同能够为未来的世界贡献力量。让我们携起手，守护地球，塑造绿色、健康、美好的世界。年轻人努力、领导力，塑造一个自然和谐共生的世界。我给大家分享宋代一位禅师的一位寄语：春有百花，秋有月，夏有凉风，冬有雪。若无闲事挂心头，便是人间好时节。阿弥陀佛，祝各位60吉祥，万事如意。
Okay, thanks for your all for listening. I'm Ramoka Shi, your moderator for the next panel. Actually, I'm now serving for the Deputy Secretary General at Shanghai Climate Executive Committee. So let's welcome Thomas Lemanaskas again to the stage right here at this place. And also welcome Satya Tripathi, Chair of Global Alliance for a Sustainable Planet. You can see it right here. And also Jerry Huang, founder of Green AI Institute and Harvard University, and his team to the stage, please. So good morning, everyone. distinguished panelists, and also our esteemed attendees. So welcome to this critical discussion on driving sustainable innovation and also climate solutions at COP29. As we stand at the intersection of the science, technology, and also the community actions, today's panel brings the most visionable leaders and also innovators in the climate sector. So we can see our conversation will explore how emerging digital technologies, global partnerships, and innovative approaches can transform the way we address climate change and build a sustainable future. So let's dive into the dialogue, and with the help of sparking new ideas, partnerships, and also actions for the greener supply chain, and also for our better tomorrow. Thank you all for joining us today. So before our deep dive, I have to mention that we all know COP29 have very tight schedule, so please to be safe, be brief and concise with our answer within 2 minutes so that we can have everyone to speak up. So first of all, let's kick off our first question. How can emerging technologies and institution leadership accelerate the implementation of global climate actions? So first of all, we all know digitalization is a key area of the technology and also innovation in climate solutions. So let's first hear Thomas, please, because I understand your profound experiences in the digital policy and also telecommunications. So please share with us what is the exact role of these technologies in supporting climate action globally, especially when you focus on the 5G or IoT kind of technologies, please.
So thank you very much. So I think there's a number of layers that we need to think of. So first of all, the technologies themselves can help accelerate sustainability drive across the different industries. So I already mentioned that AI can reduce the GHG emissions by 5 to 10%. But how do they do that? They do that by allowing, for example, smart grid, better operation of the smart grid, around the world. It allows by better management of transport systems, so around the world. Even like a traffic light better management can actually reduce greenhouse gas emissions. So all these solutions can lower the GHG emissions. Now, AI itself helps other digital technologies. So very good. You mentioned 5G, but already, IT already last year approved the vision framework, what we call for 6G technologies. So 6G is the next generation of mobile communications. What's so important now in this, that sustainability is included in a vision framework as a one key design consideration from the get-go. So that means before that was the technical considerations and market considerations. Now we have also sustainability considerations. So that means that networks need to be more sustainable. Again, how you do that, for example, by using AI to power down or power up base stations as they need be, and different other solutions. Now, for example, and why do we need that? For example, 5G, if you look, a lot of people who said that 5G is more sustainable than 4G. Yes, if you measure by megabit or by bit. But then the problem is that 5G transfers many more megabits and bits, there. And that's why on overall use, actually 5G is pushing the strain on the greenhouse gas emissions from telecoms industry. Now we start including this idea of sustainability by design in the technology life cycle. And that's why I think now these technologies by themselves should be more sustainable. Now another example, for example, ITU standard of universal charger. Again, universal charger has an opportunity to reduce by hugely the e-waste. Because just by the ability to reuse it, not to sell chargers with the devices and all the other things. Again, that's a sustainability by design thinking. What we do now, since 2028, we came together with IEC, International Technical Commission, ISO, International Standards Organization, to work on the Green Digital Action Pillar and standards with the idea of sustainability by integrating sustainability by design and standards process. So that means that engineers have that lens, and from the get-go, when they design new standards, they think about whether that technology will be sustainable. Now, final piece there is that this technology you should not be tinkering on the sideline. It should be part of the core climate agenda. Now, regretfully, when the last time national determined contributions came into play, NDCs 5 years ago, the digital wasn't represented there. And I think all the digital solutions are nice and good, but they are not considered from policy perspective as a core part of climate agenda. So we're really pushing, and that's where for us is very important to start pushing that, since from the next year, when for Brazil COP30, when new NDCs are presented, actually digital becomes an integral part of that. Because only when digital is an integral part of that, not like a things to play with, to pilot with, then digital technologies, as I mentioned, will start to kind of really make a difference. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Sorry.
So we really hope we can hear a lot of digital policy incorporate into the maybe COP30 agenda. And also we're happy to see we already included sustainability as kind of idea into the full cycle of the product. So next one, so Jerry. So I know given your work at the Green AI Institute, where you focus on blending artificial intelligence with the environmental sustainability, so how do you see the exact role of educational institutions in fostering the innovative tech solutions such as AI and big data you work on in monitoring and also for mitigation, please?
Yeah, thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Remoka. I'm Jerry. I'm the founder of the Green AI Institute, and I'm also from Harvard University. And today, thank you, Thomas, for laying the ground of the Green AI stuff. So basically, in the educational institutions, we're trying to, and also in our NGO, we're literally trying to solve the question you're just proposing, which is how could we find out the life cycle assessment of the AI models, and how can we perform Scope 1, Scope 2, Scope 3 assessment to the data centers, not just with the carbon emission, but also with water footprint and other environmental stuff. So basically for us, we're very willing to say that in the educational institutions, in the NGOs, we have to basically talk not just with policymakers, not only to the IGOs, but also to the industry people, because we have seen there's a huge gap between companies like Meta, Google, and Apple. And when it comes to the regulations of the carbon emission, water footprint, they seem to be very lacking and very behind. So basically for us, for the educational institutions, is one of the best places for us to convene people and trying to bring different ideas. That's what, for the Green AI Institute, we're trying to bring people from the policy making, from the academia, as well as the youth people, trying to solve this problem together. Yeah, thank you.
So Jerry, I know you bring 3 very youth representatives to our stage. So we would like to hear maybe one sentence from each of them to share how our next generation see about our future.
Yeah, I think our youth leaders, they're very shy right now. So could we give them a applause for them to join us? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, sure. They can just come here. Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Na Duolai. I'm honored to be here to share an exciting idea, the AI Gem Energy Cycle System. We all know that climate change is a huge problem. We all should take action to use renewable energy and reduce carbon emissions in our daily lives. Meanwhile, there's a place where energy is wasted, a lot. Yes, the gem. That's why I proposed this AI Gem Energy Cycle System. But how does it work? When you're exercising on gym equipment like cycling, weightlifting, all these equipment, the mechanical energy will be converted into electrical energy and stored it. Then it could be used in gym's lighting, air conditioning, and other equipment. With the help of AI, gym could have a better use of the energy that generates itself. We believe that it's an excellent way to combine fitness and sustainable energy. Let's work out for our health and the health of our Earth. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Su Ziqi. I'm 10 years old. I'm very honored to be a part of this special event. Do you know that fashion industry is one of the biggest contributors to climate change? Research shows that fashion industry accounts 10% of the global carbon emissions. This is more than the total emissions from the entire aviation industry. Producing new clothes requires a lot of energy and resources. When we toss out clothes, they end up in landfill and let out harmful gases like methane into the air. But we can change this. Therefore, this summer, I launched my own sustainable fashion brand, Super Kids, and introduced our first product line, Super Kids x Animal Sex Design. In terms of design, we redesigned the animals that suffer from climate change, hoping to raise awareness among more people. In production, we produce the most eco-friendly materials. In marketing, we turn old clothes into fun, fashionable design. We even organize our own promotional event. This event raised awareness of climate change among more people. So new socks from a close. Small steps to big changes. Together, we can truly make a difference in this world. Thank you for listening.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today, I would like to ask you to protect the environment by playing the game that I designed. It's called Low Carbon Planet Adventure. How is it played and how can it protect our environment? Let me explain. First, download this app onto your phone, just like any other apps. Then you can create your own character, just like any other players. Then the AI will set an carbon footprint value based on the answers to questions about living habits. And this value will be closely bound to the character. Your goal is to compete with other players. Whose carbon footprint is the smallest is the winner. So how do I know I won? Leaderboard. Every player's carbon footprint is here. The prize for the winner, you'll get a pair of Zichi's Super Kids times animal socks. This sock is not just any socks. It is eco-friendly. Zichi has just told you. My dear friends, let's protect the earth by playing this game together. Thank you.
Thanks for our next generation speech. We all say about we need to care about to build a sustainable future for our next generations. So sometimes it's more important for us to listen to what they hope for. So now and more than ever, we need governments, financial institutions, innovators, and also academics to cooperate together in response to humanity's greatest challenge. So to tackle these challenges, how can cross-sector partnerships and youth engagement create equitable pathways for a just energy transition? So actually, this question goes to our Mr. Tripathi. As the chair of the Global Alliance for the Sustainable Planet, you catalyze virtuous partnership for the benefit for the people and also for the planet to promote the youth-led climate advocacy. So could you share with your perspective on these questions based on your extensive experiences?
Thank you so much. I couldn't emphasize with any greater sincerity how much youth matters to this whole conversation, because this is the first generation that is actually feeling the terrible impacts of climate change in most parts of the world. This is also the last generation that can actually do something about it, because the rate at which global warming is progressing, no matter what you hear inside, and I say this with all honesty because I used to be an Assistant Secretary General at the UN, so I was part of the team at UN Environment. I led the UN Environment Management Group. So the overall mood notwithstanding, the facts are really staring us on our face that we are way past 1.5 degrees Celsius now, no matter what we tell ourselves. We were headed to 2 degrees. And actually a lot of people don't know about this because they're not reading very carefully. The Paris Agreement, if implemented fully, is actually 3.2 degrees of global warming. And there is little evidence that it is being implemented. I remember from 2018, among the other things, one of my responsibilities was to look after these publications of the UNEP different reports, right? One of them is the flagship report called the Emissions Gap Report. If you look at the 2018 report and the 2024 report that came out, nothing has changed. It is exactly the same amount of emissions we have reduced by 2030 and even 57% by 2035, of which there is absolutely no evidence. And so this is why whatever innovations youth can bring to this whole process, whether it is an app where you see your own carbon footprint and you can be more sensitive about it and more careful as to what you can and cannot do, or innovations, the young people that are, we work with a lot of very young entrepreneurs, and a few of them together we are mentoring them, and a few of them together we are about to launch a program that would be the world's largest green economy accelerator. It'll create 10 million green jobs in the next 5 years. It's in the making, so I can't really talk about the details. but we hope to launch it within, and the entrepreneurs are all young people in their late 20s, early 30s. We've run the pilots. The pilots have had outstanding results across tens of thousands of people, families, landscapes. So, you know, every time we get excited about technology, and I completely agree with Thomas that AI, we shouldn't just look at AI in terms of the potential impacts on climate change for its energy use. We should also look at AI in terms of what it can do to mitigate, you know, how it can make technology much more efficient, because it works both ways. But if you look at the climate challenge, I'm really worried. Because if you look at, let's say, take the United States electricity use, it's roughly about 4 terawatt hours per year. And it's been stable for decades now. But now, the electricity use intensity could triple in the next 2 decades. And depending on which sector you're looking at, if it is data center, it could be 160% by 2030 itself. So where will that power come from? And what would it do to the stability of the system and the energy use? What are the sources? Where will it all come from? I mean, if you're going to triple from 4 terawatt hours to 12 terawatt hours, there is simply no energy source available to be able to pull that off. And AI could do that to us. I'm not saying it is doing that today, although the energy use is very intense, but it is not doing that today. So we have to look at both. And so youth have to, every time you get excited about a new thing that comes into the horizon, whether it is AI or whether it is more meaningful technologies that can improve our lives, always look at the carbon footprint. What is it? Because we are already in a very bad place in terms of emissions, in terms of lack of adaptation finance, in terms of lack of money flowing into the loss and damage fund. We had no agreement in Cali on a biodiversity fund. So all these things, you know, should make us very worried. If we have no resources flowing into these things, we really should be very careful as to what are the adverse impacts of new technologies, while being very excited about new technologies because they can do a lot of good things for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Tripathi, for your valuable sharing. So we're still looking forward to see how our youth power and our maybe technology innovation to empower the whole green transition progress. So next, I would firstly thank you all for your valuable sharing. So next part, we will welcome the Eric Solheim for our closing remarks, please, on the stage. And please, yeah, you can sit down right here.
No, it's working. It's a silent room.
Sorry?
It's a silent room, so people will hear you.
Oh, okay.
No, but you still need to use that.
Yeah. Okay, because I couldn't hear anything from it. I need it. Oh, sorry. Thanks. Okay, hello everyone. I came late for this event, and I will start by telling you why, because it has some relation to the topic of today. I just met with Professor Yunus, the new Prime Minister of Bangladesh, and of course he became the Prime Minister because of the revolution of young people in his nation. And he gave me this book which symbolizes this. Look, this is a young student in Bangladesh. He was demonstrating and he was shot by the police. He couldn't really believe it, and he was shot again, and he died. So he became the symbol of this student-led movement of Bangladesh, and this is a mural from the streets of the capital Dhaka. And the book is full of these kind of murals made by young people of Bangladesh as part of the revolution. And wherever you go in the world, where there is, of course, what will happen in the future in Bangladesh, no one knows. There is a new government, there is a revolution, and then we'll see what happens. But whenever there is a major political movement anywhere, nearly always it is led by youth, like in Bangladesh, or at the very minimum, youth is playing an enormously important part of it. 2 examples from the 2 biggest nations in the world. In China, they had the so-called May 4th movement, which was really the start of modern nationalism in China. It was led by students from the universities of Beijing and Tianjin. One of them, by the way, was the later Prime Minister of China, Zhou Enlai. But they were 18, 19, 20 years old, leading what is, with the hindsight, maybe the most important movement for Chinese nationalism. Then we went to the United States of America, the civil rights movements. There is a fantastic book about the civil rights movement in the United States. The book is called The Children, because they were so young. Martin Luther King, the most famous, he died at the age of 36. Was seen as a very old man at the time because all the others were teenagers or at the very minimum in the very early 20s. John Lewis, maybe the second most important, he was about 20 at the time. So again, the children transformed the United States forever. There's no way the United States will go back to the time before the civil rights movement. So just to hammer in from Bangladesh, from China, and from the United States, how important youth are for all social mobilization. And that's, of course, exactly what we now need for the Green Movement, particularly after the election of Donald Trump as the President of the United States. We need a strong youth-led global movement for climate and for environment protection. So, what can youth do? I think the core to the thinking is that, of course, one individual cannot alone transform the world. Donald Trump alone cannot transform the world, nor can any other leader. But if everyone is doing their part as part of a global mass movement, then it matters. You are all here on social media. Start there. Every young person in the entire world is on social media. Use the social media for the good purpose of the environment. If you see something happening which is good, highlight it. If you do something good yourself, highlight it. If your friends, family, school, town, nation, or you see something globally happening, highlight it, and spread the good message. That is the starting point. And of course, be active, speak to parents, speak at school, write newspaper articles, be active, and it will spread. Secondly, plant trees. Go out in nature. So if you don't have the law of nature, nothing will happen. President Xi Jinping of China has launched a big movement in China. It's called Beautiful China. Why is that? Because he believes, of course, that highlighting the beauty of this vast nation will inspire people to go green. And it will make China even more beautiful if people focus on that. But every person can plant a tree. Every person can go out for a walk and can embrace nature and through that set example for others. Thirdly, be a small part of the renewable revolution. Solar panels fit everywhere. There's not a roof in the world which cannot be fitted with solar panels. Some are more suited than others, for sure, but we can put solar panels on all roofs, at schools, at universities, everywhere. Prime Minister Modi of India has launched a program for what's Indian called 1 crore. That is 10 million rooftop solar. 10 million. Well, that's large. Individually, they are not important, but together, they are very important. And young people in India, they can just go on to the internet and they can then get solar panels on the roof of their house, of course the parents' house, and the risk will be taken by the government or by the banks or the utilities, not by the individuals. Fourthly, avoid plastics. It's very hard, but why can't we move faster into using glass, using paper? If you need a straw, why can't that straw be made from bamboo, which is a fantastic replacement material for plastic? There are so many products. Chairs can very easily be made by bamboo, for example. So there are so many replacements. And if everyone tried to make the move, well, it becomes a big movement, and it helps. So I could go on with these kind of examples, but the main point is individual action matters, but as a part of a global mass movement. Use social media, plant trees, be part of the renewable revolution, and avoid plastic. These are simple things we all can try to do, and together we will then change the planet. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, everyone. I'm Jack. So I believe most of you maybe already got my email already. So on behalf of the GSLDC, Global SDG Leadership Development Center, we really thank you, all of your distinguished speakers, and especially all the friends coming to our event. So as all our distinguished speakers and panelists, we all mention the next generation is important, the technology innovation is important, especially how we deal with the climate change is very important. And thanks for Mr. Eric, you share so many insightful, interesting things. So on behalf of GSLDC, our goal is to link the professionals, like all the professionals, and the young generation, the youth power, which Jerry, my good friend, he just introduced some of his youth colleagues to give us the hope, give us the voice. So how to work with generation from different, professional sector, and how to bring more people understand what we are facing for this world. That's the GSLDC, what we want to do. And we hope we can invite all of you to our next event. And to our next year, we would like to do the global campaign with all our international friends and international organizations. So by the very end, because the time is very limited, may I have this honor to invite all of you to have the group photo? Will that be okay to everyone? So I would like to invite people to move forward. Let's try to just, sit from the first 3 lines. Yes, all the distinguished speaker and panelists or VIP, you can sit in front. And we invite our cameraman and camerawoman. Could you on the stage? Then let's take a photo from the stage to everyone. I'm not quite sure. How about, let's say, thumbs up? Or would you want? Yes, please. Yeah, sure. Thank you. So we can shake our hand, or any posture you want. Yeah, that's all work